Tonight on The Recall, the Grizzlies have now faced the first team in the league, Toronto Esports, and let's say things didn't really go as planned for the Bears squad. But on the other hand, you can learn more about Dahun as I challenge him to a special 1v1 activity in overtime this week. Hi everyone, and welcome to week 4 of The Recall. I'm Akuiko, and I have with me a special crew this week. I have a full lady desk, starting to my left with IDDQT. She is the co-captain and the DPS player for the Sailor Scouts. Thank you so much for coming on the desk.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And we have Isa, our statistician here at The Recall, as well as a recurring guest who's back with us this week. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you.
We are going to cut right to the chase, guys. We have a big show prepared for you guys today. Again, we are going to talk about the opposition here for this week. The opposition is none other than Toronto Esports. We are going to take a look at their lineup. We have a Guardian coming in as Flex, Axiom as their tank player. He's brand new from this week. Dalton and Nero as DPS, which you're going to hear a lot more from later on, as well as Shu and Cruz coming in as support. Now, half of this roster is Korean, so I think it's kind of important just to mention that. And they are currently first in the standings, rightly so. I mean, these guys are amazing. Again, show is not spoiler-free, so this is a 4-0 that they got this week, so I'm not going to tell you guys every single map who won because it's always a Toronto win. The first map here was Ilios. It was a 2-0 on that map, so we didn't get to see the third map that would have been Ruins, so we saw Lighthouse and Well. I wanted to call this map the Nero Show. I mean, the guy is just amazing. We saw him playing fair nonetheless, and I mean, the way that the pace was happening in the game was kind of peculiar, Isaac, because we saw the Grizzlies being able to get the point first, cap about 50-55%, and then nothing. How does that happen? And twice in a row as well.
Yeah, so the problem here is that those control maps are really Pharah friendly. In this case, the Pharah really lost the duel, and Nero's Pharah really was strong. Like, he had a lot of impact and no one was there to stop him. Spirit couldn't fight him, and Graceful's Diva was not present enough.
Yeah.
So that really caused a problem. So Pharah is really essential to keep that point and to take it back. And since Spirit wasn't able to utilize his Pharah at his full potential compared to Nero, that really changed the game for them.
It was really unfortunate because Nero got all those sweet air shots on Spirit, and maybe if Spirit had focused more on the ground with his whole team, they could have done a lot more.
Yeah. And I mean, it's always easier to look at this in hindsight, of course, but if we would have been able to get that third map in the Ruins, we know that both Zapri and Graceful can play that Widow and get some very good shots and probably be able to win the map for the Grizzlies here. So I'm wondering, again, in hindsight, QD, what do you think could have been done differently in order to go to that third map? So maybe get a 1-1 first, and then what would you have done in that case?
Well, since you mentioned that they initially capped the point on both sub-maps, if they could have focused more on being aggressive, they already have control of the map. Just push out more. Don't let the Toronto Esports set up and not just wait for a pick to happen. You have control. Just go for it.
Exactly. So again, I mean, we just talked about having a good start to a map and then things kind of going sour as things get along. This is the same story that we bring into our second map today, which was Numbani. I mean, it started very great. We saw a great flank and take of point A with the Orisa comp. I think some of the issues that we had later on in the map can be attributed to the communications. QD, that's something that you told me earlier on when we talked about the game. So do you have any more insight on that?
Yes, well, the communication for the Grizzlies, you really see on the attack, they did great. Like you mentioned, the Orisa, she got to set up on high ground with the soldier. They worked amazing as a unit on the ground. Except when it comes to the defense, they let Dalton just fool around in the back line.
Yeah.
The clip that we just showed, Dalton goes onto Blam, and there's no reaction from anyone else. There's no peeling. People just go on with their day. So what happened? Did Blam not communicate what was going on? Did everyone were just so focused and had tunnel vision?
And I mean, the communication aspect is something that we touch on a lot every single week, because it is very important in any game that you play, but especially in Overwatch, you really need to have that communication come in through the players. And you said that Blam was picked off by Dalton a lot. So Blam on this map was playing Zenyatta. Just before we get onto more Zenyatta talk, we also saw Pei playing Diva, which is usually a graceful special. So I know that's something else that you mentioned yesterday. You were wondering, why is it that he was on Diva? Do you think that it should be like one person that's dedicated to playing Diva all the time, or it should be a pick that is flex between players?
I was so confused why they would switch out the Diva Winston on the same map. It's such an art to play dive with those two.
Yeah.
There's so much communication. There's synergy. You have to work together to dive the backline of the enemy team and then peel back for your own. And when you switch Diva and Winston, you kind of put yourself in a different mindset every time. So they kind of just put themselves in a disadvantage, I feel.
Yeah. So technically, you think Graceful should have been either playing the Diva all the time, or you stick with Diva on Pei and you don't switch it up during the game?
Well, whoever loves Diva the most, like, you need to stick on her. She's part of the meta. She has been for the last 5 seasons.
Yeah.
They got to get to it and figure out who is the main Diva.
What if no one wants to play Diva?
Then I will.
Awesome. That's great to hear. You heard it here first, guys. And now we're going to get into some very sweet, sweet Zenyatta action. So for those of you who don't know, Iza is a Zenyatta main.
I just absolutely love my Omnic Monk, so I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to talk about him. And here what we see is that an offensive Zenyatta can really help the team. What we saw here is that in this map, Shu was able to really shut down the Tracer and also dish out tons of damage. And that really helped the team because they don't have to invest that much into protecting him or anything. And when a Zenyatta is really good at dishing out this damage, he acts as a third DPS. So you really have like an advantage over the other team. And what we can see here, I'm going to show a few stats that shows the average of the offensive output of the Zenyatas in the Contenders League. What we saw is I placed their statistic, their average by the team's ranking. So we can clearly see that the team with the better offensive Zen is usually placed higher, in the exception of a dummy for LNL. So we can really see that when you have a really strong offensive Zenyatta, it really does help the team. And I put just at the end here Jonak as the ultimate Zenyatta, because when you play Zenyatta, you really aim to be one like Jonak.
Of course, yeah. And I'm guessing, is Jonak your favorite player from the Overwatch League?
No, not even.
But he's the Zenyatta you want to be?
Yeah, he is the Zenyatta I thrive to be.
Yeah. So as we were able to see from these stats here, the impact of the Zenyatta is very, very big. So you have to protect your Zenyatta, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, this map ended on a real C9. So last week there was like some sort of fake C9 action at the end, but here it was an actual C9. So the point, the payload was fully capped until the end. People were just stepping off of that, so that was a bit unfortunate. But I don't think I'm going to touch on the C9 too much more longer than that. We are going to jump into map number 3. I mean, you guys probably guessed what it is. It's Horizon. It's the best map NA, best map world, because it's in the moon,
Galaxy-wide.
right? Galaxy-wide best map. Not. I mean,
not for the Bears.
No, yeah, exactly. For the Bears, let's say it's probably not their favorite map.
Yeah.
But things are looking up, guys. Even though they didn't win this, I think we'll all agree that this was their best showing so far.
Yeah, by far. And I actually was really impressed by their plays here.
It was, I mean, it was very hopeful at first. As you can see here, that was the point 8 take. We got some insider info that the Grizzlies have been practicing a lot that quad tank setup with the Moira. So it seemed to work out earlier on. The other thing, though, is that they were able to get both points. That was great. But when Toronto came in with their attack, they just seemed to be stronger. They didn't need the quad tank either. They ran a different comp. And I was wondering, of course, there was communication errors. There's a lot of different things that come into mind here. But I was wondering, Cutie, do you think at a certain point it's fair to say that maybe the Grizzlies were just outmatched in terms of
skill-wise?
Yeah.
When
can we call that?
You can kind of say that because although quad tank is so fun to play, you need a hero pool that's deep enough for your DPS to swim in it. Spirit seemed a little bit uncomfortable playing Zarya. He misused the bubble a few times. He bubbles himself behind a Rhine shield, or he won't use it on a Junkrat tire. Little mistakes like that just cause the Graviton to come out so late. But eventually they do get first point, and that's the beauty of quad tank, because you stack all these ults, and then you just steamroll, and you get to second point, and they did it great.
And I mean, as you said, since the Spirit didn't get his ult very quickly, it took a while before they got point A. But once he had the ult, it was immediate. They were able to get that point right away, and then he was able to build a second one very fast because of the snowball.
And that's how you see the impact of the Zarya on that kind of comp.
Yeah, exactly. And then you see how strong it is. So kind of hoping here that maybe for next week, if they run the quad tank again and we play again on Horizon, which I think, I mean, it would be 5 out of 5 weeks, so that's kind of what we are expecting. Hopefully, maybe we'll see a bit of different, like charging that ult a little bit faster next week. And now just going to touch on some positive points. I mean, the fact that we saw the quad tank, we were able to see new heroes coming in and different players. Was there someone in particular that you wanted to touch on?
So Pei on the Reinhardt was really impressive. I was actually really impressed with his positioning a lot of the time, and also he just felt really comfortable. Like he said in last week's overtime segment, that Ryan was his favorite player. So that showed up, and it really felt refreshing. The team felt really confident and like sort of happy to play a different comp than the dive.
Yeah.
And it really showed because they seemed really motivated to go on and attack the points.
Yeah, and I mean, as we see the images on screen right now, like the guy is a beast. He's such a good Reinhardt player.
And he knows when to attack and when to put his shield up. That really made the difference. At one point, we can also see when the Zarya Gravitons, the way he places himself on the map to attack and dish out the damage is really, it's nice.
And I mean, as much as we've been talking about Zapri so much, how he carries the team on different times, I feel like on that point B that we just saw here, it was like Pei carried very hard.
Exactly.
The guy was just on fire. So we really wanted to touch on that. Also, the map ended in a similar fashion as last week against XL2. So it was, as you can see right now, a Genji play. The only difference here is that Nero does not need an ult on Genji, apparently. He wipes the entire team just like that. So it was the same spot. And maybe a little bit of trauma here for the guys.
Do you guys ever get that feeling of a deja vu?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we do, sadly. Yeah. So that's how the map ended here for Horizon.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. As we jump into our fourth map, which is Junkertown again, we know that the Grizzlies themselves know that they lost the series because it was 3-0 at that point, but every single map point counts. The map differential is going to make the difference in that playoff scenario, right? So we're really hoping that the guys would be able to get the point maybe on Junkertown. Sadly, it didn't happen. We saw Cruz on the Mercy just being
a beast.
Tearing apart the Grizzlies here. So I was wondering, what do you think allowed him to play like that?
Well, Cruz is amazing. I only know him as DPS Genji, so I was surprised like how good he is. The clip that we're watching is very confusing because Spirit is not. Spirit is throwing his dragon to the payload, and he doesn't notice that the Mercy is right next to him, healing. She's just healing. She's not shooting. She's not doing anything else. She's in the screen, and there's no awareness. He continues to shoot at tanks with his little bows. So it's not going to hurt them.
No respect for the Hanzo here. His little bow.
His little bows. So it's just confusing. Did he not see her, or they're just always just so focused on tanks all the time?
That may seem to be the problem that allowed crews to take the opportunity to attack. So,
Yeah, and maybe at that point when I look at the screen, I'm like, does he think that she's on his team? Maybe she's literally there.
She's so
jumping
close. She
around.
must be a friend.
And I mean, also, since you said that he used his ult on the payload where there were some tanks and not focusing the supports, I was wondering, in your mind, who do you think you should be focusing in those team fights in general?
Well, in this case, when the Mercy is really like she was an easy kill for him. He could have taken her out, and at this point, when you take out the support, you really put yourself at an advantage because they don't have the healing coming through. So you technically have a larger health pool with the healers. So at this point, they should have prioritized the supports and not the tank, especially because there was the Diva and the shield of Orisa on the payload. So maybe they should have focused on the support more.
What about what we saw now, right? I mean, when your support just kills your DPS, like, who do you focus when everyone is good?
Well,
Supports are good, the tanks are good, DPS are good.
I think the most of the time you should just actually focus on the player, on the enemy that causes the most trouble to your team, that is affecting your team the most. Like for example, on Lumbani, they should have worked on Dalton a lot earlier.
On the Tracer.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. You should focus the problematic player.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shiza. So we are now going to cut into our overtime segment for the week. We were talking about supports. I'm going to go into the overtime with Dahun, who is the support player for the Grizzlies, and we'll see if I'm able to get a win here. Hi everyone, Akuiko here. I am at the players' apartment today. We are going to go into a new overtime segment with Dahun. We are going to battle things out into a new challenge, and let's see what happens. Let's go. All right, we're going to start the activity. So I'm here with Dahun. Thank you so much for coming on. We have some Play-Doh. We also have some names in a basket. So there's a couple names in here. It's Overwatch characters. And you are going to pick one. Then we have 4 minutes on the clock, and we're gonna have to try and create the character or a part of the character with Play-Doh in 4 minutes. We're gonna have our judges, who are the people right now who are doing all of the broadcasting. They're gonna pick a winner based on 2 things: execution and resemblance to the character.
Okay.
It's good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you pick a name since you're the guest on the show. Something easy, please.
Hanzo.
Oh god. Okay, so do you want to do half of each?
Sure.
Okay. Don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, go! If you finish before, it's fine. Okay, I know what I'm gonna be making. Is this an activity that you like doing as a kid?
I played with mostly like Legos and like Kinects and stuff, not with stuff like this.
No? You were a techie kid?
I like making stuff that wasn't like, I don't know, you could play with after you're done, I guess.
Yeah.
Like this, you kind of make and you look at it, and that's like.
I think we're making the same thing.
Yeah, I mean you have to make a bow at some point, right? Or it's
Damn.
It's not Hanzo.
I don't remember what it looks like. Do you even play Hanzo sometimes for fun?
No.
Do you think it's fun to play Hanzo?
No.
You heard it here, guys. Hanzo isn't fun. Damn.
Snipers aren't interesting, in my opinion.
You don't think they're interesting?
No.
Why not?
Because you either hit the shot or you don't. That's boring.
What do you like then?
Stuff that has gameplay to it. Instead of just I hit the shot, I won. I didn't hit the shot, I lost.
Do you like Junkrat? Do you think that's gameplay?
It's more gameplay than the Hanzo or Widowmaker would be.
Okay, so if you could like delete a character from the game.
Widowmaker.
Instant reply. Okay, is there anything else that he does? Oh wait, actually I know what I'm gonna do. There's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left.
There's like nothing you can do with this character.
Oh man.
Just a dude with a bow.
You could
And
write
no
down
shirt.
his ult,
Oh yeah, you could do that, but
but it's copyrighted by me now.
yeah,
Can't do
I
it.
can't do it now.
Okay, I think I have a fine idea here. Oh damn. If you could, so okay, if you could delete someone, it would be Widow.
Yeah.
If you could play, let's say you could only play one character for the rest of your life, like one hero in Overwatch, who would it be?
Probably something that would stay good forever. So.
Lucio.
No.
It wasn't forever, but it was for a long time.
Yeah. Right now, it's probably like Diva or Zen, because those heroes seem like they're never gonna get changed and they're always gonna be relevant.
Yeah. So you would play tank then?
Yeah, sure.
Did you always play support?
Yes. Yes.
In Overwatch, I mean, because I know you told me you played League before.
I
And you
played
played
jungle when I came.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. I think I'm onto something good. I actually stopped looking at yours because I didn't want to like get intimidated. Mine is so
Mine
bad.
is stupid.
Same. We have 50 seconds left.
Okay.
Damn, I forgot to do the. Okay. It's fine. I'm gonna pay the judges.
Okay.
I won't. I won't do that. I don't have any money. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's done.
Okay.
Oh damn, yours is so good. Okay. God. I think we should explain them because mine needs an explanation. It's the ult. So that's the dragon.
Yeah.
And okay, so this is the ult and this is the scatter shot.
Oh, okay.
Cause I'm like, that's the two things that make Hanzo. The broken dumb ability that everyone hates and the ult that never touches anyone. Okay, your turn.
I just made a dude with a bow.
Dude, it's so good. I 100%
Quiver.
lost. Okay, judges. Judges, you guys will have to pick a winner. I suck. Okay, cool. Yours is really good. Okay, so
I think so.
I lost again. So 1 point for you, so an extra point for the Grizzlies. And now, just before I let you go, I have a couple questions for you. I was wondering if you think there is indeed like different personalities for roles, and if in your mind there's like characteristics that you should have to be a good support player.
Yeah, there are definitely like personality traits for each role that I've definitely noticed from playing on various different teams. So like for support, to be a good support, generally you have to you try to pay attention to what your team's doing and try to play around them instead of make plays for yourself. You can't really be somebody who wants the spotlight.
So
If
you have
you're-
to be selfless.
Kind of.
Okay. In the same mindset as that, I'm wondering, do you have a player, either like a streamer or a pro, someone that you look up to and why?
I like Jonak. He's probably the best support in the world.
Yeah.
And then I also like Ark and Toby.
Okay. And is there a reason why these? Is it just based on skills
Yeah,
or?
just skill.
So to you, it's more important to base yourself on their skills rather than like liking them just for their personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Awesome. And to end this segment, I want to know what's the story behind Dahun. Why did you pick this gamer tag?
So I needed a name when I was like 12 or something to play online video games like everybody else's story.
Yeah.
And I just put Attila the Hun into one word.
And you kept it for this whole time?
Yeah.
You never changed?
Never changed.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for winning. This way I just get like more reasons to lose. I think I'm just gonna throw for the rest and pretend it was on purpose. It's fine to have some excuses lined up. For everyone at home, if you want to follow Dahun, you can follow his links down here. And then we will see you guys next week for another overtime. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
So that's it for the overtime segment this week. As you saw, I lost to Dahun. The only thing is that it was a vote, right? And it's our broadcasting crew who decided against me. So I think I'm going to have to hire someone else because I lost.
Are you ever going to win?
I don't think so. Honestly, I'm more interested. I mean, I have a list of excuses, but like, my point is, to me, it's more important to talk with the guys and learn more about them. So I don't really care about wins, like, ever. It's just a game.
Is that another excuse?
Yeah, that's another excuse I have. I mean, you want some more excuses? I got a bunch. We are now going to talk about next week's match, which is going to be against the Gladiators Legion, the academy team for LA Gladiators. We're going to look at the roster very quickly. So we have Blase and Corey as DPS, Gods as Flex, Panker as tank, as well as Pooks and Rolf as support. So now a lot of these names you might have heard of before. There's a lot of very good players and known players on that team. So I was wondering, who do you think is the star player on the team?
So we obviously have a Panker from Kangdu Unsia, who played 3 seasons at Apex in Korea.
Their outfits are so freaking cute.
I know.
So cute.
I know. So, I mean, if you have never seen the Kangdu Unsia uniforms, guys, you got to get on that right now and just Google it. We're looking at some plays right now from this week. Just Panker, as you said, being an absolute beast. Him aside, I mean, there is Gods and Pooks that played together before. There's also Gods and Rolf that played together before on C9. So that helps out with the whole communication aspect, right? When you have players that have played before together and that are comfortable on the same team. So if we want to be able to qualify for playoffs, by we, of course, I mean the Grizzlies, if they want to be able to qualify for playoffs, they will need to get a win against Gladiators Legion. So either a 3-2, a 3-1, or a 4-0. We are going to look at the weekly recap right now. As you can see on the screen, we got 2 4-0s this week. So the Gladiators bodied last night's leftovers. We just talked about the Grizzlies and Toronto Esports, and XL2 Academy came back in very good form and were able to get a 3-1 against Mayhem. So the group, I mean, it was like that before as well, but it's still very tense. You can see that every single win here counts. We're just going to look at the scoreboard now. There's only 4 teams that are going to get to playoffs, guys. So just remember that. We have 6 teams here right now. Toronto Esports and Gladiators Legion are officially qualified for the playoffs. Their seeding is yet to be determined, but if we look at their stats right now, it's likely that they will be first and second. As we just mentioned, the Grizzlies really need to get a win against the Gladiators Legion if they want to be able to go in that playoff spot. What do you guys think, maybe starting with Cutie, the guys have to change or adjust in order to get the 3-1, 3-2, or the 4-0?
Absolutely. First thing they need to do is stop focusing on tanks completely. Don't. I want everyone who's under 200 HP to die first. And then I think after that, they'll be clear.
She's calling for blood.
Yeah. They'll be fine after that.
Okay, what about you, Isa?
For me, I feel like they should really work on their communication problems, because that is really a key element to winning those maps. Also, I watched the last Gladiator Legion's game. Their last game, and they really struggled on Junkertown against LNL of all teams. So I feel like if the Grizzlies are able to play like they did against XL2 on that map, they could take like an easy win on that map. So so I feel like if they really work on that, and for example, so just work more on the individual skills. For example, Spirit on this area, if they want to run once again the quad tank on Horizon, which will probably happen, it will definitely help them get that win.
Yeah, also the other thing that is very important to mention is the fact that we do need to have a win in order to possibly qualify for the playoffs, but not everything is in the Grizzlies' hands, as they also need certain teams to lose in order to qualify. So we need to get those wins, but we also need other teams to get a couple losses, because theoretically, anyone in this list, even last night's leftovers, can qualify for the playoffs under different circumstances, right? So that's just very important to note. That's it, guys. That's it. That's it for this week. I mean, thank you so much to both of you for coming on the desk and talking about Kongdu Unsia's uniforms. That was very great. We are going to leave you on that now. And just to mention, next week is the last week of regular play. So most likely our last episode, it will air right here on Montreal Esports' Twitch channel on April 10th at 6 p.m. So you really don't want to miss that. So for me and everyone else at the desk, I will thank you very much and see you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
You just gotta keep moving forward.